can it be? Showing up with Tony T, yes, Ramon SEO. To the double T, befuddling these bookies like 1, 2, 3. They tapping out and we cashing out. It's plain to see. The morning scheme is the A-team, Mr. T. And I pity the fools who can't hang. Coming with real game is sort of a freight train. It's been reported bank rolls are easy to maintain. So get situated and listen to the picks. And it goes a little something like this.
All right, and a pleasant good morning to you from Tony'sPicks.com. I'm Ramon Scott. Welcome to the Morning Steam for Saturday, February 3rd. If you like college basketball, today is your day. This is it. This is the big one for college basketball fans. All the attention today, mostly on the great game with great matchups from around the country. And I got about a dozen games that I want to look at today. And we're also going to look at that NBA card, short card tonight, 6 games in the National Basketball Association. And we do have the NHL All-Star games, if you will, with the teams. We'll just tell you about it a little bit anyway when we get to that. It's at the end. I don't really have any picks even, but maybe we'll even talk about the beginning of the show for hockey fans and watch the skills competition last night. I like that sort of thing, but it's not everybody's cup of tea. And I guess I like the hockey skills competition better than the NFL Pro Bowl skills competition. I mean, it's a little more valid. Can you, handle the puck? Can you shoot the puck fast? Can you skate very fast? All things that translate to the great game of hockey. Of course, in the NFL, we always want to know who can, do a tug of war better, and maybe who can catch a ball while diving over a sports car or something like that, something that happens every day. But nonetheless, they'll have their festivities this weekend as well. Rather watch some of those college all-star games, including another one today, if you will. The college all-star today. Also, we have international soccer. I'm already knee-deep in a couple of these games certainly going on right now, including action from England. Tottenham leading Everton here 2-1 early. Also see some action here from Spain. Valencia leading their game here. I've got it on one of my screens here, and they're also in action in Italy right now. Just a good day of soccer. You can really get hyped up for some of those matchups in the Premier League today. We'll probably have some coverage from the guys over in the Discord. I've already put up some of that delicious college basketball steam. Check it out. Steam rolling in right now, so maybe we'll keep you abreast, try to give you some direction today with all these college games. Those aren't picks in there. Those are just the hottest movers from professional bettors as determined by one of the major line services that professional gamblers use. So you could take a look at that and weigh it for what it's worth. We've obviously seen some pretty big days from that steam, and some days are hot and cold, just like anything. Even the pros take a loss here and there, apparently. Hey, want to thank everyone who joined me watching me play some poker last night. I made a final table, did a little cashola with a great group of guys. I really enjoyed that, and look to do it again. We get ready for our Super Bowl week here in Las Vegas this week. I'm shooting to go to that game, but I don't know. I might not even be able to afford to get into the experience if we don't have a winning day today. So let's have some winners in NBA and college basketball and say hello to our team of Chat All-Stars today, and who's joining us here on a Saturday. It's Justin's got his play of the day today with Utah Valley. Justin going deep on the board there. Let's get a winner for Justin. Justin, thanks for being there last night as well. Blake, good morning to you. Salty had a nice day. Hey, like and smash with our man Thomas Lewis. as always. Thank you, my friend. Here, Fernando, ready to roll, he says. We got that morning steam. We are all morning steam. We're Team Steam here, right? It's not the name of the show, it's a philosophy uh, here. So appreciate that to Fernando and all your contributions as well. Perky says, who won the poker? It was Stimmy. Stimmy won it. I got caught. I think it was by Stimmy. He got my stack. Uh, he limped in with an ace queen. I was short stacked. It's perfect strategy when you know you can knock somebody out even on a continuation bet. If you miss, you're probably ahead. And with my suited king in the big blind, I was an easy situation to shove right into Stimmy's ace queen and ran out. All right. Marcellus here today. Nice to see you. Timmy Tushu as well. All right. And we go over to Tony'sPicks.com to see who did well. I won't be on the leaderboard today, that's for sure, but we're going to fire today big, of course, on a card like this, especially in college basketball. I've probably rolled up 10 plays on Tony'sPicks.com. I'll also have, well, a UFC card today. There's UFC today, gets underway pretty early, actually. See what that time. I know the time. It is an afternoon card though here in Vegas. Starts at 4 o'clock or so. So hey, I'll head on down to the the old Apex if they want me. Perky likes UConn today. Brent maybe likes St. John's. Hey, you know what? I'll preview that one as well as some others. But I just want to say as well, please consider we've got 3 hours before the start of the games practically. Tony has previewed 8 games today here on the Tony's Picks YouTube channel. Take a look at some of his matchups today. And he has some mid-major action for you, and he previewed the big games in the Big 12. Hey, Tony's got Murray State and Northern Iowa. It's going to be a good one there. Check it out. He also previewed Idaho State and Northern Arizona, a tightly rated game in the Big Sky. He also took a look at Houston and Kansas. That's going to be the game of the day, a doozy, no doubt. And let me see, he had several more I want to just touch on. I want you guys to check these videos out. Iowa State and Baylor. Hey, I can't go a day without talking about Baylor. Neither can Tony. He previewed the game. He'll preview the game today. He has Rio Grande Valley and Southern Utah previewed as well. And he also went to the extra board today to look at a couple of games, including Bucknell and American and Northern Florida and Austin P. In addition to my top matchups today, I did pick I'll let you, you might have already some feel for those bigger games, but I will tell you, if you wanted to get ready to take a look, my one extra board game that I will preview today will be Central Connecticut and Merrimack. That is one of the biggest, actually. If you just look at the whole board anyway, where teams stand in their respective conferences, I'm not going to make any argument for those two teams long term, but certainly in the conference today, that's going to be a big one with Merrimack hosting Central Connecticut. So if you want to jot a few notes down about that one, we will go out there to the lowest rated conference in the country with their biggest game of the season, Central Connecticut and Merrimack. All right. How's that? All right, we'll go over to Tony'sPicks.com and see who did well. I want to know who did well and how did they do well. I'm curious, right? Because I don't know, was it a tough day? I was on the short end. Is Chad here? He won the challenge again. I think he went 2-0. Might be a 70% right now. I could retire fading me against Chad. But let's take a look at the site. Here we go. All right, there I am. And yesterday it was EPA Sports, NBA. They have their projections. They do several games, so that's why you see the high volume. I won't explain it there here. That would be a disservice to them. But 13-7 yesterday for a strong 65%. Nick Lagaretos 3-1 yesterday. Good day for Nick. Scott Doubles Shooty, our man from our morning steam chat, 3-1 yesterday. Latifa Collins 4-0, 4-2. Pardon me, Latifa, 67%. Ruben Marlborough also 4-2. Joseph Schultz, another day, another winner for Joseph. There's Mark Butterscotch Eubanks as well, 57% yesterday. Tony T, he is on the leaderboard from yesterday. And the Tony's Picks VIP account had 2 winners in 3 selections. Jerry Lewis gets a turn atop the handicapper leaderboards for the last 7 days. She's up nearly a dime. Over the last week, the Tony's Picks VIP account, very strong here. Wow, take a look at that. Nearly 65%, nearly a dime of profit, 9 3/4 units. Tiffany Mance up there, real strong, 7 1/3 units of profit. Scott Doubles Shooty up there as well. A very good run for Scott of 60% this week, and Mindy Hans up there as well, plus 384. Great turnout from the 2 old ladies at Bet Network there. 30-day leaderboard, one of our newest cappers. Gene got picks. He's still up 20 2/3 units over the last 30 days. Hope that'll do it for you guys. Do it for me. Good job, Gene. Nick Lagaretos up there, 16 1/3 units. Ruben Marlborough, come to Marlborough country, and you'd be up 15 units over the last 30 days. Your mileage may vary. These are based on just $100 plays. You might be playing more, especially if you're using service, a picks service. You got to cover the costs as well as the big. Probably Sam Murdy up there, nearly 15 units of profit, and Joseph Schultz with his long-term strategy certainly having a very good month. And for the year, there you see it. Pretty proud of this group because you look down the leaderboards here, and already after really just getting into the month here, have many handicappers in the profit, including some others that we haven't mentioned, like Ramon Scott. All right, he's up 9 units. We'll get it up there. We'll get up there with all of my other friends here on the site, but there's probably Samba Murdy as well, Tim Irwin up there, the 2 old ladies at Bet Consensus, Ron Crawford and Chauncey Giles. You can click on the Premium Picks tab, and there you'll find the selections from our group of handicappers. Use the promo code TonyT at checkout to save 20% off all of our premium pick packages. See, cappers have packages ready to go today, including doubles here. He's firing away in college basketball, including, look at that one, Holy Cross and Loyola on that list. Nick Lagaretos, he's ready to go in soccer action today. So is Ronnie Crawford. They've got games from Germany coming up in just a couple of minutes. I'm up there with that 5-pack. Check it out. I've got 2 5-packs today in college basketball, one for the early set of games and another for the second set of games. I mean, we've got games firing off all day. Probably have one more package, I would think, with this card today. But, man, the early card is hot, hot, hot. And hope there you see some of it. And I'm also got a 3-pack tonight in the NBA tonight. So grab those packages. They're all just $25, or maybe grab my short-term packages, 3-day, 7-day, or 30-day. Use that promo code TonyT at checkout to save 20% off all premium pick packages. See some of my records there from last year. College basketball up 43 units for the year, and already this year up here 10.5 units in college basketball. So I think that's we've been doing this site now almost 3 years, and that's kind of how I run. With college hoops. Rough day yesterday, but I mean, long term just shows you all these records are documented here at Tony'sPicks.com by a third-party service. That's why I'm on one of these multi-capper sites, for that credibility, and not much more credible than Tony T here on all these shows and websites. So thank you for listening to that. You can click on the All Cappers tab, find the handicapper of your choice, and that's how you get signed up. If you have any problems. Thank you to subscribers who might be getting to me, and I'll help you as best I can navigate the process if there's any difficulty. So appreciate all your support. Just watching, liking, subscribing, that's pretty special to me. And let's say hello to a few more people here today in the chat, including Percent Better here today. And uh, Brent's here as well. He's already started his projections coverage in the Discord. Thomas Bird as well here today. And who else joining us? I think that's it as far as new people. So maybe we should just roll with the show, get going here. Let me just take a little bit of personal care maintenance. We'll get right back to the coverage and get started. If you'll just bear with me one moment here on the Morning Steam. All right, a little bit of chill in the morning air, but trying to warm it up in here, and maybe cook myself a little bit too fast there, and don't want to be sniffling on the air. Stephen Downey, hello. Percent Better. I was in a little tournament last night, and they had it streamed online, and you could watch all the ups and downs yesterday. Yeah, thank you, Stephen. But we did have, didn't get any of the big winners that I was looking for yesterday. But I'm glad we did have some good coverage here on the show yesterday. Trey, hello, and I'll cover just a few of them here. Then we'll roll into the picks for today because we did have some winners, here on the show yesterday, including the Houston Rockets, San Antonio Spurs we had as well. Also had the Orlando Magic, but I found it a little bit few and far between in the NBA yesterday. I think maybe we saw it coming a little bit with some of those personnel, but man, I didn't see all that coming. Yesterday, winner on the show, Kent State and Buffalo did stay under that first game out of the blocks yesterday. And also, we did have the winner there late with, Nevada. Yeah, they won by a million or something like that. I heard there were some transmission problems with that game, apparently, and not everybody saw the final score. Apparently, I didn't either. I didn't even write it down. I had to think about it, but I know Nevada was winning by like 40 or 50 points. 40 or 50 points in the end. I was at a final table, and Tim Humphrey, nice to see you today. Let's get started with the NBA. Try to get some winners out of this. There have been some big moves already. We're seeing massive movement in the NBA with totals. Sharps aren't always right in them, but man, if you play these correctly right now in the NBA, and I imagine through the All-Star break, we might see this. You got to kind of jump on them early. NBA lines can come out as much as 16 hours or so the previous day. And these games right now, some of them are moving 4, 5, 6, 10 points on some of these totals. They are kind of the games that you might expect with the personnel and stuff like that. That's right, Russell. Let's do NBA first. Let's roll and talk about some of these games. This one's going back and forth here with the Nets and the 76ers. And yeah, it's a real bummer what's happening with Joel Embiid right now. And I think we're all kind of bummed about it to a certain extent. Maybe not Celtics fans, but maybe, I think basketball fans, we don't want to see this guy out for too long, but it does feel like at this point we're going to be missing Joel Embiid. Let's get the latest. Maybe I can peek at it or see what they're see what it's saying. But man, it feels like what's it going to be? 4, 6 weeks, 8 weeks right now? Who knows? But the torn meniscus, that can be as long as a month. It can be 6 to 8 weeks sometimes, but there's not really a good timetable yet. This is just from my experience, that type of it. Not personally, I've never had a torn meniscus. I'm a athletic trainer on YouTube. I think, or a sports trainer on YouTube that watches a lot of injuries and follows a lot of injury report and histories, right? We've seen torn meniscus. Feels like we're going to be missing Joel Embiid for quite a while. But hey, that's opened the door for Mr. Maxey. We're really going to get a big chance to see this guy's stardom here. It feels like we've already saw the first results for Maxey without Embiid in that last game. 51 points. He's a star. He is a borderline superstar at this point. By the time Mr. Embiid comes back, Maxey might be in that superstar category. What a great player he is, and he had a great. Remember, he was out before on some of those games. Now, first move here, Sharps came in hard on the over, and ever since then, it's been all under. But I'm not sure that I feel like that's the right move from the Sharps. I mean, I get it. Maybe I don't want to say the public. I mean, Embiid's been out one game, but it is Saturday now. That game was still a little bit under the radar for the most part. And Embiid's injury, we knew about it. I mean, the story had already broke and everything, but maybe we're still seeing a little bit of reaction from the public there. Already seeing a little bit of a move here on the Nets here today. Within the last few minutes, it's been back and forth action. Now they're starting to come in hard on the Nets in this one. Man, I really like Maxey. I'm going to take one more shot with the Sixers here. Still they're favored by 4 and call it 3.5 now. The move is definitely coming in right now on the Nets, and a little bit more money on the under still here. And we got your picks with thanks, Stephen. He had the score. It was 90-60. Okay, I gave up watching. There was a guy screaming, yes, and he kept screaming about the games. I hope you're here, brother. I want to hear from you. We had that game. We crushed them in that game. Nets money line for Russell. Justin's on the Nets as well. And Dre here with the under. All right. And Tim talking about that Pistons game. Perky talking about a little action in college basketball already. Tim says he's got the over in this one. That's what I feel, right? I mean, I feel like it's Maxey. I feel like the situation's going to change here for Philly. But, man, I'll tell you what. After the first move from the Sharps to the over early, it has been a bombardment of under money ever since from the Sharps. I was surprised. I really thought they would hit this one hard over, figuring that the pace is about to change here. It could open 230.5, or there was a line as low as 230.5. I want to say. Let me see if I got that right, but 230 was actually the lowest. So you see, it's still higher than that opener, but the limits are going up, and it's going to be a little bit harder to push that line back down. But it does seem like if you like the over, you might want to wait on this one. I think that the under money is going to continue to roll in a little bit. As surprising as that might sound, that's what the market is indicating to me, because it's been an avalanche, quite frankly. I'm surprised, but I'll take the Sixers here. Are there trends? Can we discuss trend, Ramon? I mean, is there anything you want to say about other than you love Tyrese Maxey, but maybe not here? I mean, when the Nets have had their own sets of problems, no doubt, and Philly, we know they've already been a terrific cover, right, all season long, especially laying big numbers here. And yes, maybe the first reaction of general public, Oh, I mean, big basketball fans know Maxi's play and everything, but maybe they would say, "Oh well, hey, maybe we can maybe fade this team now." But the Nets are dreadful covering numbers. They're 3-6-1 in their last 10, 8-14 against the spread on the road. Thomas says he'll take the Sixers money line, and he's got Harris here with a in good position in this game today. I would think so. Uh, I think probably number two producer, and well, we'll see with Paul Reed. I mean, he did have 10 rebounds in the game playing center, and I mean, you're going up against Claxton, so hey, if Reed can do anything to contribute here, I would think against Claxton it'd be okay to maybe get something done. Same again for Claxton. I mean, I would probably look if I were looking on the Brooklyn side. Hey, I got some people watching here, so they don't always say much in the chat. If you guys are there, man, thank you so much. Some really elite guys I know are in there watching. Sometimes they don't say anything, but they're probably better at these props than I am. But I would say today I'd be looking at Nick Claxton props against Reed probably today. All right. That might be it for that one. You guys got your plays. Oh, Brent has his numbers here in this one. Biggie, hello. Nice to have you today. Let's take a look at this one now. Warriors and Hawks here. And this one has been on the decline here this morning as far as the total is concerned. I'm showing this one down all the way to 244 now. 244, 244 and a half. This one what got as high. Here's what I'm talking about. I mean, can you believe you can really navigate some decent middles if you're that sort of person? Just got to be in on it early. Just look at the first move, and it continues to kind of roll that way. Uh, Maybe there is a little bit of concern here with the Warriors and the Hawks. The Warriors favored by 2.5, and we do know that for the Hawks, let's see what we got. Sadiq Bey questionable, DeAndre Hunter probable. Not much going on there. It looks like to worry about for the Warriors. Saric questionable. He's got an illness. That's about it. I mean, so we're looking, but you still have the miserable Hawks. Uh, we know they are the worst spread in the league, worst spread team in the league. They've actually picked it up here of late. We know they've covered a few, but it's not like they're, covering what is it? 4 out of their last 10 overall. Warriors 5-4-1 against the spread in their last 10 games. But the Warriors, as an underdog, 11-5-2 for the Warriors. That's pretty good. This sounds like the spot you want the Warriors in against some miserable Hawks who are 6-19 against the spread as a favorite. That sounds pretty good. Now, we'll say this. If you do want the Hawks, I believe you will be going against the Sharps in this one. Again, I know we got a few people there. Hey, who's square, who's sharp? To me, in this one, maybe, just maybe, the Hawks are the sharp side, right? I mean, they're favored in this one against a popular team like the Warriors. And although this spread has been fluctuating a little bit between 2.5 and 3. It looks like 2.5's here right now, but that total certainly on the decline. The teams are definitely over teams, especially the Warriors this season. The Warriors mentioned their underdog role, 12-6 to the over as an underdog, and that 60% of their games have gone over. The Hawks are 15-9 to the over at home this season. We'll get your picks here on this one right away and take a look. Man, see, but here's the thing, right? As I said, so this total reached as high as 251 on FanDuel yesterday at 4 4:15 or so Eastern time. Imagine that, and then it was hit immediately to the under. Maybe an hour and a half later was 250 and a half at BetMGM. Then was down to 248 and a half at places like Caesars, PointsBet, SIA out of Canada, and it just kept going down. And now here we are at 244 and a half. And well, not going to tell you how to play it. Look, if you got under 250 or something like that, you got a great number. It's always great to roll with it. But you could do worse and get a 200% return on a 5% investment with a 7-point middle or something like that if you're so inclined. Anyways, in this one, I'm going to have to take the Warriors considering, they're still the Warriors. Can I say that? Can we say that at all? They might be still even acclimated, getting acclimated to having Dre in the lineup, I guess, in this one. All right, let me see. Maybe I can even peek at some matchups here on a slow day like today. I wish we had time to get into every aspect of every game. I hope I'm not too vague on some of my handicaps with you and make me look like, uh, you know, wiki capper. What do they call him? All right. DeJounte Murray, probably in a pretty good position here. Would be, missing Hunter. That's going to be kind of a big deal here. He came back for the game against the Lakers, remember? And so why wouldn't he come back for this one? I don't think it was. Yeah, and he played how many minutes in that? 16 minutes. So that's a good sign. And what did I say, though? Probable for him. So a good sign there. So, maybe a little bit of that is baked in here. But man, Curry likes to play. He's had, some games certainly in his history here in Atlanta. All right. You guys have anything here I'll take Golden State, I guess. What do we got from our team of Chat All-Stars with Justin likes the Warriors here, a little bit of plus money, and Hawks on the projection from Brent, his projections here. Who's playing defense tonight on the Hawks? I would think look, we make fun of the Hawks. Murray I rate Murray decent defender. Maybe a top 10-ish of the position, maybe number 10, maybe number 11, right around there. I don't know. What do you guys think on that one? All right. I'm just making numbers up in my head. I'm just thinking. I mean, I don't have any real ratings or anything, but I like Murray. He's probably about the only starter on Atlanta that I think when I think of him, I think of someone who could play some D. All right. I mean, that's where I start. We were making Joseph isn't here. He probably is sleeping still after running deep in the tournament. Joseph Thompson, one of our great chatters, but talking about he hates to bet unders. And I'm like, and they were trying to convince him, especially some expert cappers, about, you got to start with under. Not in this one necessarily. I'm not singling out Blake. I'm just passing. I'm just still going over the plays here a little bit. Thomas on the money line, but under is like the thing nobody wants, right? It's kind of like, why were you playing? Remember, I'll say this too, is in our show here. I want to just remind everyone, since it's Saturday, if you like overs in the Super Bowl props, get them early, man. Public only goes over. It's so square to say. I feel like I don't want to say it too many times, like I'm talking above our expert chat, but almost like in life, in games, take the overs early, take the unders late, take the favorites early, take the underdogs late. Just a general rule. All right. Thomas says, "Hey, Ramon, you got to factor in a little bit of back-to-back here. Don't forget for the Warriors off the game last. I think this was the Chad Challenge, actually. I think I laid 8 with the Warriors, and again, this is what I do, and this is what Chad does, but it's great. I'm so appreciative. I wish he was here today. But the Warriors team, where I end up taking the bonus points, if you will, there with the Grizzlies, and I think the Warriors won it by 9, and I took 8. Is that right? So Chad wins again. But nonetheless, I'm always going to be on those uh, sharp side. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Uh, I don't mean to insult. The Warriors were uh, clearly the square side yesterday. So uh, if you want to debate that, it's not a debate. I can't argue it. Everybody's right. Nobody's wrong when it comes to speculating like that. But when you look at the Golden State Warriors, they've won so many championships. They are one of the greatest franchises in the history of the NBA. Joe Blow's going to walk up to the window, knows that the Grizzlies have every player's been injured this year. They're playing a bunch of G Leaguers. And I took the sharp side and the square. To me, that's how I mean, I could be wrong. All right. Let's see. Salty said he wants to take the Hawks, but gonna wait. Yeah, maybe because maybe kind of like kind of like the public, you'd think those should come in on the Warriors here, right? Especially given some of these. Russell, thank you for your Rice and San Antonio question there. Let's remember that and come back to that because I've got a ton of college basketball. Really, the best games of the day. Kings and Bulls here in this one. The Kings have been on such a long road trip. They probably filled up their uh, postcard envelope by now, visiting all these teams. They're going up here against the Bulls, and the Bulls are favored by 2.5 now. Here come the Bulls. They're taking action from, I guess, could it be the public? Maybe. We know we've been pretty hot with the Bulls ourselves to a certain extent of late. Total here pretty steady at 229, despite maybe some sharp action here on the under. It's kind of holding steady. Uh, Maybe the sidebar is the discussion of the Kings stars not making the All-Star game. Well, it's hard to get, you can get overlooked, right? We know what you're dealing with when you're in Sacramento. It's not it's a growing, flourishing market, especially media wise. It really is a fledgling comparatively to where it was. I mean, even the A's are considering Sacramento for maybe half of their schedule of this season as they try to transition here to Vegas. Man, the things are getting a little bit more difficult. It feels like by the day for the potential of the Las Vegas A's. I think they're still locked in, but anything could happen. This negotiate these this situation is developing here. Boy, wouldn't Sacramento or Salt Lake City like to swoop on in and get themselves a professional sports franchise? There's enough people in Oakland and in Las Vegas that don't want this team, and I would just say grab it when you can. The name Las Vegas can turn a team into something, right? Even the Raiders get a little luster back on the old jalopy when they added the words Las Vegas to the front of their name. Shout out Raider fans. All right, let's continue. Let's get with it. We're gonna have fun on a Saturday like today, you guys. Kings and Bulls. The Bulls are favored by 125 points, apparently, because the graphics man stayed up too late playing poker last night. Let's call the Bulls a 1.5, or we'll call it 2.5 right now, as I said. Total 229 or so. There we go. It's the Bulls that are coming in right now off of a win against Charlotte. They got the money on the road. They also covered against Portland, covering against bad teams, no doubt. And they've lost to Toronto, Lakers, and Phoenix of late. But Chicago's been a consistent team. Well, not terrible against the spread anyway. How about that? They are 13-12 against the spread at home. Kings are terrific, 15-9-1 against the spread on the road. Pardon me. On the road. But again, the Kings dealing with this long road trip, and it has to be part of the equation here as far as the Bulls taking this money. It feels like right now. For Sacramento, let's see. I thought that we had the some of the injuries here. Nothing. No, Sacramento's been healthy for several, a couple of weeks now for sure. Uh, Back to the old Tony T healthiest team bit. What is it? Man, Sacramento is doing pretty well. Veznikov, he is questionable in this one. And for the Bulls, Kobe White questionable certainly would be a concern. White been pretty awesome. And Craig upgraded to questionable. Good news there for Torrey. Terry is doubtful. Williams is out. That's certainly something that everyone has been also noting here of late. So there is some injury concerns here on the Chicago Bulls. And the same thing here a little bit. I think the Sharps kind of came in on the under early, but now they're pushing the over late. I don't know if they're right in a game like this. Usually you do need to see a pretty steady move to the under. To kind of get the feel that that's where the Sharps are headed. So I don't know. They might push this one back up a little bit here, but man, Sacramento, sure, they just got into a game with the Pacers the other night. Yeah, they went for that 255 in that one, but the Bulls, they like to play it down. Certainly a little bit. They scored 104 in a game against Portland on the road recently, and had another under in that game against Toronto, and went under this number against Phoenix. So I'm going to take the Bulls here in this one to get a win here. Do need to see those guys a little bit healthy for this one, but I'm going to try the Bulls here. The move is obviously on the Bulls, and I would think the public would perceive the Kings is slightly the better team here, certainly with their above 500 record, and I think people know it's been a pretty grueling road trip, but they've had success. Certainly, a lot of wins actually. Let's see here, we've got your picks. Hey Jeff, nice. Congratulations, Jeff. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Tony. Thank you for stopping by as well. Appreciate it. And here's Justin on the Bulls money line. And Kent Cook with his projections as well. Salty says tonight was the Kings, tonight's the Bulls. Last night was the Kings, tonight's the Bulls. All right. Thomas maybe says the Bulls here. And Tony saying, you know what, we've got volatility in action. Yeah, we talked about it. Chad talked about it too. We can invoke him if he's not here. He's always on my mind. And but we talked about the volatility, right, in these games leading up. We saw it in the NHL. All right. Tony just going to fade the NBA. Can we do that? Can we bet against the NBA? Stay away from the NBA, he says. Okay. I would think volatility is a fun time, but I know a lot of people like consistency. That's where you get chalky. Okay, what else? Okay. Okay, yeah, Thomas says what I'm kind of thinking here. Bulls, slow it down. There you go with defense. Yeah, that's what I kind of feel. Bulls are 14-11 straight up at home this season. Kings are 14-11 straight up on the road. So they've been actually pretty good. Russell says he thinks the public's on the Bulls. All right. Yeah, maybe they could be in this game. I'm showing right now one line service says tickets are running 3-2 in favor of the Kings right now. The other line service has the Bulls taking nearly 3 of every 4 tickets. So that's all right. Yeah, looks like again, that's why those numbers have such a crazy imbalance sometimes, because some books are with one and another one tracks the other. I don't know if we have a consensus in this one. Feels like there's some Kings support. I'll take the Bulls. Next up, the Bucks are at the Mavericks in what certainly has to be a nice game on the surface. We do know there are some concerns here with Luca, but he's probable in this one. No Kyrie though. He's already missed a lot of action this year, and he's got a thumb injury right now, so he's doubtful in this one. Derek Jones questionable, Lively doubtful. Bucks have pretty clear injury report and say try to get together with whatever they're doing at this point. You get Dallas at home as a dog here. A big move to the total under already in this one. Another one where you can kind of track this stuff a little bit and get out in front of it. But let's see. Right now, this one was as high as 254. 254 was the highest number from some of the openers here with the Bucks and the Mavericks tonight. Can you imagine? It was 254 at FanDuel. It was 254 at PointsBet. This was as late as 10:30 Eastern last night. But then the unders are more realistic totals here 250, then now to 246. Look at this thing just dropping. It's gotten as low as, well, this might, no, 245 and a half. What is it right now? 246, pretty much across the board. You're looking at the Milwaukee Bucks, a 4.5 point favorite here, maybe even 5 at some spots. Could Luca not play in this game? I'm showing him as probable. Do you guys have something different? Look, I know the Bucks are pretty great, but the Mavericks, they're still pretty decent, 26 and 22. And yeah, I mean, they've had some inconsistency, certainly, but man, I probably want to take these points at home. It feels like to me, even against these sharp Bucks. Now, the move came in on Milwaukee early. We got up to here as high as 4.5. I saw some fives out there right now. It's good enough for me. I want to take the Dallas Mavericks. They're the one that covers spreads, right? What am I missing here? I mean, we have Kyrie out like we want him, right? We don't want him in there. I mean, I'm half kidding. But I expect Luca to play in this game unless you guys can convince me otherwise. I'm going to take a look at the next level injury report now just to make sure I don't have something wrong here. I am, after all, a paid professional sitting here on YouTube, public handicapper, trying to make the call. He's off the injury report ahead of Saturday's showdown. Doncic wasn't available, of course, in that last one. It was the 8th game of the season he's missed, but appears he's good to go. All right. All right. What do you guys have? We can go over some numbers, but I think I'm making the call on the Mavs. You guys are talking about Luca here. Brent says Kyrie could come back in this one. Let me check that. I'm showing him as doubtful, but let me take a look now. That has me really concerned, but I'm not concerned at all. Mavericks guard Irving doubtful heading into the game. I'm going to stick with that. That's from a pretty reliable source, so I'll stick with that. And what else? Who else? Lively. Game time could be a game time decision. Is that right? That can't be right. No, I mean Lively has had nose surgery, could be fitted for a mask, but did undergo a procedure to correct the issue. He could put that mask on here. If it says that, but I don't know if it's just some. All right, let's see what you guys got. Mavericks team total under here for Tim. Doesn't think it'll be a good day for the Mavs. I say the Mavs, as a good spread team. They're 500 against the spread, but Milwaukee's 18-30 against the spread. Things are still going bad for Milwaukee against the spread, even of late, covering just 2 of their last 10 games. I mean, this has been maybe they changed coaches. They weren't covering enough spreads for people. All right. Kidding you. I'm kidding. All right. Mavs. Brent says they'll take care of it. Gerardo, hello. Blake will take the Mavs. Mavs first half for Dre. Rich does have Irving maybe returning tonight. All right. Well, and then why not take a little more Mavs action? Because I would think, man, you look at this, getting a home dog here, getting 5 points now with the Mavs. If Irving's in, then ain't going to be 5 anymore. I'm surprised it's 5 now. It's disturbing, but I kind of, got to respect the Sharps keeping it at that price. Oh, man, Chad's here. Maybe he's got the information that we need on that one. Yeah, he says Buck's about to crash him. Okay, we got a challenge then. Salty's on Dallas. And Brent's got his projection here. And Thomas saying, the Bucks, hey, maybe Doc comes in and ends up being coach of the year or something, right? So, all right. Well, you guys got it. There it is, Chad. Challenge number 1. He's got the Bucks. Look, Chad, I went back. You might go back and, we talked about the win yesterday. I called it square again. I don't want to get you mad or anything, man. You were on the Warriors, one of the greatest franchises of all time. Public loves this team. The spread went from 5 to 8, and I was on the team. Did I get it right? I hope I got it right, brother. I'm sorry if I did. One of them was the Warriors, right? I try to write it down and all right. Okay, let's get back here though. Anyways, I'll just comment on this game with the challenge here. But Milwaukee, definitely the side of the Sharps early. Milwaukee in this one, but since then they've seemed to have pivoted. Now 5 is enough. Again, when I say Sharps and squares, Chad, I'm not talking about you or me I'm talking about professional bettors for the most part. They're going to be on both sides of this game. Quite frankly, it looks like right now Sharps laid 1 with Milwaukee. They laid 2.5 Milwaukee. They laid 3.5 with Milwaukee. They laid 4. But now the 5s have come in. I'm jumping in with the 5s because Milwaukee can't cover spreads. But that'll be our challenge number 1, it looks like. How about the Lakers and the Knicks tonight in this one with the Knickerbockers favored here at home? Yeah, the Lakers are going into New York on this trip off their big upset win with coaches AD and LeBron in there. The 2 stars questionable for tonight. They were looking, smooth in their get-ups there, their street clothes. The other day, but why AD wear the same thing every time on the bench? AD, mix it up a little bit. And of course, Julius Randle being out. OG questionable with an elbow injury. What else is new? The Knicks will get to figure this out eventually. Hopefully he's in there. Key for the Lakers was Vanderbilt leaving that last game in the middle of the game. Now they did come back to look good, but he did leave the game again. He's having problems, and I don't know what's going to happen for Vanderbilt, right? I think the news is bad, actually, right? I might want to peek at that. I don't know if I actually caught up on his news, but he will be missing several weeks now with that foot injury. Still needs more tests to be done. It could even be more serious and miss more time than that. So he's already missed time with, I believe, actually a different injury. But tough luck for Vanderbilt, who's been an okay player for the Lakers. So we'll see with LeBron and AD in there, but OG has that designation too. It kind of makes the matchup there a little bit tough to handicap with LeBron and in there. But man, Reeves, just what a performance last time. He's a star. He's a star. And the Lakers know it. It's just funny how the Lakers played so well in that game with the two superstars on the bench, and you're playing a high-level team. Yeah, I get all the emotional aspects of overlooking a club and all that. That's where we're supposed. That's where, right? That's where a guy, the YouTube professional is supposed to knock it out, right? I mean, come on. You got these are the spots that I'm supposed to hit, the challenge spots, kind of, right? If anything, because of as a handicap, right? Oh, I was the one on the Lakers that day against Boston, right? I was on the money line or whatever the case may be. Those are the ones you want to get right, at least with the spread. Okay, let's see. What do we got here? Maybe for you guys in this one. And Chad still doesn't get it, though. I have a million arguments that can break you down, Chad. Don't don't sweat. All right, Lakers here for Chad in this one. Man, could they get up again? Could the Stars get back up? The Knicks are 8-2 against the spread in their last 10, 30, 18-1 overall against the spread. Lakers 10-15 against the spread on the road. And my Lakers, if you will. All right, go back and see. Let me see, Chad. Okay, we're on a chat. Well, I don't know if they're all challenges because you get to hand pick them. So I am on the Sixers here already. And let's see, I'm on the. Do you have the Hawks game in there at all? I'm on the Lakers. I'm on the Sixers, the Warriors, the Bulls, and the Mavs. Also, so in this one though, let me go through a few more picks here and maybe some other trends. The Knicks are a total under team right now, and the one thing I think about the total in this game that while sometimes maybe the side is actually a little bit easier to predict, whether even if the Stars are in or out, the total to me is a little bit tougher. And that's what I kind of want to look at. You got the Knicks here, 1-9 to the under in their last 10, 7-16 to the under at home, and 10-20 to the under as a favorite. Now, once those Stars will be named in, if they are both named in for the game today, this is what you're going to have to try to weigh. This is what I'm supposed to tell you is going to happen. But whether or not LeBron is going to be in there. I think with this one, it feels like, the Knicks feels like they will be in, right? It was a surprise to not have them last game, but I think the big question with LeBron right now is where he's going to play next. How can he get on the same team with his son? How can they work that out? How can it work out? All right, let's see what else we got here. Knicks for Rich. Thomas says, I'll take the Lakers. It'll be a beatdown. LeBron will prove the Lakers need him. So LeBron's going to go in there and have a big night. Knicks for Blake. And, oh no, Chad, I'll never make excuses, brother. I think you're watching the wrong show. You're not listening. Salty bet the Knicks. And Chad, everybody, Chad, the positive vibes, everybody. See, I get the total opposite, brother. So that's why I came across and you were so upset with me, because I think people like to be treated the way they treat people. That's the way we all say, the old cliche, right? So I'm like, oh man, look at this guy. He's really aggressive. So I'm going to be aggressive with him. I'm soft, man. I'm a wuss. I think everybody who is, kind of a analyzer of people can see that, but I don't mind. Like I said, I've rubbed people the wrong way my whole life. All right. Total here. Let's see. He said Salty is 226. All right. Well, I'm going to play the total on this one. I'm not going to give Chad a chance now. I don't know. Maybe you got the inference there, though, of what team that I like. Maybe I'm on a premium play tonight in this one. Lakers off that great win, man. It was super with Reeves, and it's all good, man. He had that big game. Lakers lost to 2 before that. This is the 5th game of the road trip now. The Knicks, they win, they cover every single time right now. Hottest team in the league, covering spreads, pretty darn hot. Straight up as well. Consecutive wins here at home over Indiana and Utah, getting the money with ease, crushing easy teams. But remember, they also beat up on the Nuggets. All right, this total opened as high as 232. Can you believe it? 232, and now it's all the way down here to 224. Are you all right? That looks to me, does that indicate that maybe the Stars are not playing right? Knicks are favored. Total is dropping down big time. Are we starting to see the Lakers starting to realize that their fate is almost sealed, that they are not going to be able to have enough here and start to toss in the season a little bit? I'm going to take the over in this one. This has gone too far. I think those guys may end up getting in there tonight. And I'll take over 224.5. Let's see here. Just so interesting, right? Lakers money line again, Steven says. All right. And Knicks for Dre. All right, let's move on here with the Cavaliers and the Spurs. Cavs are a big road favorite in this one, and man, they're looking terrific right now. But you know who else is looking terrific? The Spurs. They've had a few nice games here of late. Cavs are going to be a big favorite, though. Obviously, coming in a 10-point favorite now, and the total at 231. Or so, up to 10.5 now. Ooh, that's uncomfortable. Probably still like them. Just love what I see right now out of the Cavs. The total here is up to 231. That's a surprise as well, but we know the Spurs have trouble stopping teams. And although we may perceive the Cavs as an under team with good defense, I mean, they are an under team, but they can mix it up here with some of these teams. We've seen games with the Bucks or the Pacers go for high scores in some of those. We saw against a bad team like Detroit, they ran it up at home, 128 to 121. They didn't get the money in that one, but they're not like the Bucks necessarily not covering numbers. Cleveland's done a pretty good job covering numbers for the most part. They are 15-11 against the spread as a favorite, 7-3 in their last 10 overall. Spurs have been mediocre against the spread, pretty much a 500 proposition, but they've been covering a few games here of late as well. They have lost 3 straight. I give them a little bit too much credit in the intro, but they did cover against New Orleans, played a real good game the other night at home, getting 8.5 points with a chance to win. Wemby looking good in that. Like I say the other night, it was last night. Don't forget that Spurs were able to get the money in that one. We had the Spurs here on the show, plus the points in that one. I like to bet every side in total, usually by the end of the day, at least a little something, but couldn't figure out the total on that one at all yesterday and end up taking a pass. Even on, like the show. Sometimes, hey, try to bet every play. Usually every play on the show gets action from me. Sometimes I get a little busy and I'm like, well, I got to, play on the show. Didn't even have a total on the show yesterday in that one. But do try to get down on everything. It gets a little hectic, like on a college basketball Saturday, where my numbers, sometimes I have so many games I can play because of the numbers. And, you want to think your numbers are right. Hey, thanks, Biggie, for your play on that one. Here's Blake on the under. here with Cleveland and San Antonio. Dre, Cavs and under. Thomas going under. And for me, I like the Cavs, I think. Let me see if anything can get me off this Cavs team, even laying double digits right now against San Antonio. Just love everything I see. And Tim says, with this numbers, you still got to try to look to the Spurs here in this one. And so if I had to paint the sharps and the squares here, for me, I would say that the Sharps are mostly going to be on the Spurs here, but there are enough Sharps on Cleveland that are going to be able to keep me on Cleveland here. So I don't know. What do you guys think the Sharps and the square? Is there a Sharp and a square side with a 10.5 point spread on the road here? So I don't know. That's kind of the discussion. It feels like to me that is being initiated, but I guess I'll just never be able to explain it to some. And I'm not right. I'm not right. I'm not wrong. Nobody is. All right, Cavs don't play enough team ball. What, Terrell? Are you sure? I think the Cavs play pretty good team ball, but I know what you're saying, especially with with Spider a little bit, maybe, right? Is that what you're saying? I think the the Mobley, the Allen factor, though, a little bit having everyone healthy. Actually, Allen, let me take a look here. He's on the injured list. He turned his ankle. So let's take a look. Jared Allen, game time decision here, possibly. Okay. Well, in the Thursday game, Allen did turn his ankle, but returned to the bench, but didn't check in. So, all right. And Mobley didn't get an injury designation, did he? He did sit out Thursday. It was a surprise that he did sit out. So he's not on the injured list today, though. So that looks good, and would like for sure him to be in there. The other options are not great when you start talking about Wade and Okoro, but hopefully my man Evan Mobley in there today. All right. Thomas says Spurs cut Wemby's. Spurs will cut back on Wemby here. And don't forget tough matchup. I would say if Allen is in there, even for their good guard, Vassal. You're going up against a guy. Well, Mitchell can play D. I mean, you might, call him a ball hog, or I just did, I think, but he plays on both ends. Garland plays good defense as well. So I'm going to take the Cavs to roll here in this one. Did Chad leave his play on this game at all? I don't even know if it's I don't know what a challenge is anymore. Got to get the official confirmation. All right. Thomas, is that a team total over? That's it in the NBA. I've got a 3-pack of plays for tonight's action. Consider picking those up at Tony'sPicks.com. You're supporting me when you do that. And hopefully, I appreciate your support and appreciate everyone smashing and liking and all that stuff. Let's go to college ball because this is what we're here for today. Let's do it. Let's start with the biggest game on the I think it's the biggest game on the board for the attention, the attraction, if you will, the early start. It's going to be a good one. I like watching my buddies do their little stream with the early game. And, of course, you're going to pick this one with Connecticut and St. John's. How can I not talk about Ricky P in this one going up against I think we can call them the best team in the country. Who do you guys have as number one currently? You could have Houston. You could have Purdue. I'll take my shot with this Connecticut team right now. And they've got a big-time matchup with St. John's. And, hey, St. John's is going to get plenty of attention. And this might be one game where there might not be that much of a Patino tax going up against top team here, uh, like like Connecticut, right? So I think that's kind of the way I'm kind of looking at this one. I think everyone knows I'm pretty much in love with Coach Patino, but I don't know. This one's going to be tough, man. And if anything, you're laying a single digits here. That might be more interesting to me than, but still tough game. And I'm going to probably look at the total here in this in this one, just because of some of the movement as well. It's dipped down here to one. I think one. I want to say 145. 145 and a half or so in this one, but I've got to think this is going under here. In fact, let me go ahead and push it down to 145. We've already seen a slight move to the under here. Still more pressure here from Sharps of late. Let me take a look here. Is it? Oh no, I'm showing 145 and a half at Circa, but 146 and a half at other books such as Bet Online, DraftKings at 146 and a half. So I feel pretty sharp here going under, quite frankly, and that's what I'm going to take in this one with Connecticut and St. John's. I'm going to score this one, both teams in the maybe pushing it to get to 70 points. It's going to be, I think St. John's knows the way they're going to have to play this one against Connecticut. I think the over, though, getting attention from Sharps, and I'm fading them a little bit here. And I don't know, wouldn't the public want to consider the over in a game like this? So maybe I'm not getting the best price, but I just feel like I need the under. Let's take a look at your comments. This is a game where I think we can get some comments and some picks from you. Thank you. Oh, Gerardo, thank you. Hey, I still haven't found your other Discord, and maybe you could shoot me. Maybe I can get an invite to the other. If there is another Discord where you, but this was a Discord exclusive with Bayern Munich, and of course one of my favorites, Mooch and Gladbach. Um, Here halftime. Let me fire that one up in front of me, even though we've already cashed a winner with Gerardo. I mentioned all the action, certainly, that I think Gerardo will be hitting us up today with more plays in soccer. But one thing I didn't get to, mentioning all the top matchups, today would be tonight's action from Mexico and my Cholos taking on Pachuca. We're on the road, probably not going to beat them either, but maybe we'll have a chance. And of course, Tigres and Pumas facing off Monterrey in America. All right. Perky on UConn here. Hello, Futon Bets. Nice to have you. And Perky says, and he loves that early game. He loves it. Thomas maybe on the under. Terrell, I think, is saying over. High paced game. All right. I'm on the under here. Connecticut and St. John. Oh, did I want to maybe could cover maybe some tidbits? I don't know about the matchup. I guess that's what we could do. Well, yeah, but I don't know. Patino to me, I feel like there's a different class here, right? Wherever is Patino goes, right? He still turns them into winners. Look, got Iona going pretty decent. Every team. Look at St. John's, who is look at what St. John's was languishing and mediocrity a little bit, especially in that conference. And now all of a sudden, here you are on a Saturday, and you're playing one of the biggest. It will be one of the biggest games of the season. Just watch it. It's going to be fun. Can't wait for that one in 90 minutes or so. Anyways, Connecticut been going over. Definitely, they've gone over in 6 of their last 8. St. John's, however, under in 4 of their last 5. 7 of the last 9 meetings between the two have gone over. But that's Coach Patino in here now. Blake says he'll take UConn in this one. All right. Yeah, Biggie, I got 10 plays up already today. Thank you for asking. Two $25 packages, or grab the 3-day there. And I expect one more package. Could be 5, could be 7 more games. I'm thinking 5. I got a UFC card, I've got an NBA card on a slow day. Supposedly, it's not slow. Hey, one thing I will have is I believe nothing in hockey. If I do, it'll be a Discord play. And I really did like the other format better with the Metro and because remember when the Metro was winning out, riding the Metro and the All-Star riding on the Metro. Northwestern and Minnesota Big Ten action here in this one. Pretty good game. Not the biggest in the Big Ten today, but certainly worth a look here with a closely rated game against two teams. Northwestern on the road in this one, nearly a pick 'em right now. Let's take a look at the current line and see if it's moved at all. Right now, I'm showing a pick 'em at most. No, maybe Minnesota minus one now. There is some pick 'ems out there. Maybe we can just call it a pick 'em to make it easy on me. I don't know. There's pick 'ems at Circa. There's Bet Online has Northwestern the favorite. Bovada has Minnesota the favorite. So let's call it a pick 'em. And the total here, maybe 138.5. A little move to the under here in this one. And I think here for me, I'm going to go with a double play. I already talked about a little bit of move to the under here, so to speak, with these two teams now down to 138.5. Look, Minnesota, I think if you look on the surface spread wise with these two teams, you might gravitate a little bit to Minnesota. Given their current spread standing and Northwestern's spread standing, I think a little bit leaves a little bit of something to be desired here. Give me one second. Okay, I think we got it going now here with this one. Hey, it is Minnesota been crushing. They're the best spread team in the country. We know that. 17-3 ATS, 13-1 ATS at home. They're in a pick'em game here with Northwestern. Minnesota has actually lost 3 games at home. They weren't favored every time, but they are 10-1 as a favorite. Not favored here necessarily. Just want to note that Minnesota 13-7 overall, Northwestern 15-6 overall, but Northwestern just 2-4 straight up on the road. So I like Minnesota and the under here in this one. Yeah, maybe these teams do trend a little bit over this season, especially Northwestern. They've been flying over, quite frankly, over the last few games. They're 9-1 to the over in their last 10 games. Just had that crazy game with Purdue that went for 200 points. You had Ohio State game that went over, even though they only scored 58. The game against Illinois had over 180 points. Game against Nebraska, that might be kind of one that is similar, and that went for 144. So for Minnesota, they're not as strong with the totals, but they have gone over in 3 of their last 4, including 157 here against Penn State in that road game that they won to snap their losing streak. We mentioned Minnesota, all their success, but they did lose 4 in a row recently to Wisconsin, Michigan State, Iowa, and Indiana. Not exactly a easy schedule, but considering if you're Minnesota. But again, the Minnesota Golden Gophers, 17-3 against the spread this season, 13-1 against the spread at home. They're a pick'em today here against Northwestern. I'll take Minnesota in the under for our first double play. Might be our only. I think I got one more double play, maybe. What do you guys? Anything here in this one? Minnesota all day for Moneyline. How are you, Moneyline? Nice to see you. Nice to have you. And Terrell, and how about the dominance of the home teams? Also, it is a thing. The home teams covering right now in the Big Ten might not be as strong as much as it's talked about, but home teams are covering here in the Big Ten right now. Let's see anything else in this one. Blake on Minnesota. Tim says Northwestern with an easy win. Of course, he's got a purple tee. Perky says Wildcats. So got a Perky challenge. I'll look to, hey, if I win this one, Perky, Minnesota, hey, if you win this one, come in here and, insult me, and I can't take it, obviously. Imagine if I got on Perky's bad side. All right. Hope everything's okay down there, Perky. I know we've had some bad weather. All right, let's continue on here. What do I got next? I think I've got a couple of games that involve like smaller conferences with. Here it is. We have right. Hey, it wouldn't be a show today without talking about this one. I'm going to take the best game of the season in the worst conference in the country, with Central Connecticut taking on Merrimack in this one. Merrimack's favored. And so maybe I mentioned it at the beginning of the show, give you a chance maybe to look at maybe you got your sheet out or something. You can at least look at the spread. Maybe even had time to look at where these teams stand. Maybe even take a look at the Ken Palm and check out where they stand, because they're 1-2 right now. We know that. Let me go to it here and get the exact standing. It'd be a shame if they weren't 1-2. Yeah, Central Connecticut. Did I miss something? Central Connecticut. They come in with the 7-1 conference record right now, 13-8 overall this season, and Merrimack comes in 12-10 overall and 6-2. Hey, this one, NEC front row. I don't think this one got to ESPN Plus. Maybe it did, but NEC front row, one of the best college. It's free. Good stream for this one. You're gonna need it. I think Central Connecticut has won 4 straight, although they've failed to cover in each of their last 2 games at home, laying points on the road. Central Connecticut 9-3 against the spread, 6-4 against the spread as an underdog. Merrimack is 15-5 against the spread overall, but just 4-3 against the spread at home. So Merrimack's the better spread team. Central Connecticut's a better spread team on the road compared to Merrimack covering spreads at home. But these two teams have been money. Even Merrimack, they've covered covered in 3 straight. Right now, they just won back-to-back road games covering spreads at St. Francis and at Wagner. Sacred Heart and Fairleigh Dickinson, by the way, are behind them in the standings currently. Merrimack, they got League Player of the Year candidate and sophomore Jordan Durkak, and of course Central Connecticut has a formidable tandem in Alan Jean Rose and Jordan Jones. And this is the game of the year for the most part. Now they'll get a chance to meet again, probably down the line. But the first meeting was won by Central Connecticut, 75-70 at home back on January 15th. Central Connecticut covered the spread in that one. Next up, Brent Lemoyne. No. All right. Maybe nobody here on this one. Let me make sure we got the line right here for this game. I just want to have a little bit of fun. This is I'm serious, right? This is the real big game of the season here. Five and oh, I see what you're saying. 132 and oh, it's just a typo. I'm sorry about that, you guys. See what happens. You try to get cute and go with one of these games. It actually should have been. It opened as low as 127 and a half. It's pretty much 131 and a half for the most part. Please ignore the 138. I'm sorry if anybody got alarmed there and ends up, going crazy with this one. Um, Probably like I don't know. I probably kind of like it over at this number, but again, it did alarm me. I'm looking at that opening of 127, and maybe these two teams, are a little bit under. Central Connecticut 4-8 to the under on the road. Merrimack 8-12 to the under overall. Central Connecticut 6-4 to the over is a dog, but I'm on. Let me see here. Let me make sure. I just want to look real quick at the Sharp. Maybe the Sharps are in this game. These are the ones they like to hang out in. No, yeah, man, this is gonna be a good game. So let's take Central Connecticut plus the points. I've got this one going down to the wire. I would think that this one is going to feature plenty of points. Quite frankly, now that I think about it, um, maybe I should have. Maybe I should go with the total. Let's just go with Central Connecticut plus the points. Again, I am concerned about that opener that I saw 127 and a half, now up to 131 and a half. I still have it above that, but the fact I was surprised at the 127 and a half opener. And again, that 138 and a half was just a typo. So that probably should have been 128 and a half, as now that I think about it, because I did put these in last night. You can see some of the changes here already. Let's go with one more or a couple more. Bear with me. Like I said, this is a great day in college basketball. The schedule is actually off the charts on some of their important games, and so is this one. This one's not as important. I saw it's a pretty decent game here though with Richmond at VCU, because we saw Richmond in the last game. Pretty good game, certainly last time out. Pretty exciting game for the Spiders here in this one. Let me get to this game. This is game number 687 and 688 at 4 o'clock Eastern and 1 o'clock Pacific time with Richmond and VCU. All right, for the Rams here coming into this one, let me see, 3 and 135. Oh, those 4 o'clock games. How many games can there be? Here we are, another Saturday, looking through all the games. All right, 3.5 and 135. So maybe it's gone up half a point here. Bairstow, one notable player missing here for VCU. He is downgraded to doubtful. VCU comes in 13-8 overall. Richmond currently at 16-5 coming into this one. For VCU, they've been a pretty strong cover team, but nothing like Richmond. Richmond's covered 9 of their last 10 games now overall, following that exciting win over Dayton, 69-64 last Saturday. Well, they also beat Fordham. I'm sorry, they beat Fordham this week as well, beat them by 14. Richmond is on a cover streak. They're beating everybody by big-time margins here right now. It's one of the hottest spread teams in the country. 16-5 currently, just 5-4 against the spread on the road. VCU, like I said, pretty decent, 12-9 ATS and 9-7 ATS at home. Just 9-5 straight up at home. Richmond on this long winning streak right now. And let me take a look at the standing for these guys currently. All right. All right, let's see. Anything from you guys in this one? We've got. Oh man, you guys played that game. Shoot, Perky said Central Connecticut. Sorry I missed that. Maybe Blake's over in this one. I don't know. Thomas says he couldn't find Old Central Connecticut. It is an extra board game, Thomas. So you might have to, depends how the book has the games in order for you. But that one goes off at 3 Eastern and noon Pacific. Rich, I've got Memphis and Wichita game covered for you coming up. Here's Richmond for Rich. How about that? And Blake says go over. And Perky was reacting to that question, it looks like. And I'll make my pick in that game. So we'll see. Could it be a Perky challenge? I think a Perky challenge would be, I don't know. That doesn't sound like a very profitable. That sounds like another one where I'd be 33%. And Memphis. Yeah, we'll talk about them. I'm sorry, I don't mean to get off track here necessarily. All right. Anyways, Richmond 8-0 right now on fire in conference, and VCU currently 5-3, but they are fighting hard, 13-8 here right now. That Richmond win over Dayton, that was the deciding game so far in the conference season for the Spiders in that win last week over the Flyers. And the thing is, those two teams only meet once in the regular season. Of course, there's also George Mason, I think, a little bit to worry about in the conference standings. To a certain extent, that will be another tough game for Richmond. So for Richmond, they'll be an underdog here. Maybe they'd be an underdog at Mason, but in all the rest of the games, they're expected to be favorites in. So somewhere along the way, maybe the conference standings could come down to a deciding game somewhere along the line for the two teams playing elsewhere. But Richmond with this 11-game winning streak right now. Let's make a pick here. Getting Richmond as a dog. I'm pretty sure I want them still. Here, hey, VCU is great. They got a nice home court. We know that, but I might be a little square here, okay? And believe me, look, the reason why I say I know that sometimes the squares are winning and I lose is because I usually gravitate towards what I think is the side the sharps are on. And if I'm losing, then the sharps are usually losing. I'm not saying I'm sharp. I'm saying I'm a copycat. Not necessarily. I like to follow the moves because I don't think I know as much by myself as the masses do against me. It's one brain against a million brains. So I've got to respect everyone's opinion. All right. Should I just, go with Richmond here and get this over with so we can move on? I believe this one's at 4 Eastern and 1 Pacific. I'm going to make the call, but I just want to see, I want to see if there's been any sharp action I should be concerned with. And the sharps, to me, are running about 3-1 on Richmond. That makes me feel pretty good, even though it's not tremendous. But I'm going to go with Richmond. Okay, we got to move on. Everybody's talking about a different game, and I'm still stuck on this one. I've got one more, bear with me, that I want to talk about. I'm trying to give off for complete coverage. Tony does too. You look at the games he covers, man. It gives us a chance to look at every game somewhere along the schedule. And this is a big game, so let's look at it with Samford and Chattanooga. You don't think this is a big game? This is a nice game right now. Certainly coming up in this one with Samford and Chattanooga. Get to this one. This is game number 703 and 704 at 4:30 Eastern and 3:30 Pacific. You got Samford coming in, one of the best teams in the country as far as the number of wins is concerned. I don't know if they've quite made it up the charts just yet, but Samford comes in right now with a 19-3 record against Chattanooga. Of course, everyone's concerned with that recent loss to Furman, but they bounced back nicely with a win over East Tennessee on the road, and then they were able to club Wofford pretty good. Interestingly, though, they haven't covered in 4 games in a row now. 3 of them were victories. Of course, the loss at Furman was on the road. Samford's just 11-9 against the spread. 1-3 is an underdog this season. So as good as they are, Chattanooga probably in a pretty good spot here, maybe to hand them their 4th loss. Chattanooga comes in 15-7, 7-3 against the spread in their last 10 games right now. Chattanooga, they're on a roll. They've been winning, they've been covering practically every game, it seems right now. That's what makes this game so interesting right now, because you have a team like Samford. They've won 16 of their last 17, I want to say 16 of their last 17. I think that's right. Right now, whatever it is, 16 of 17, 15 of 16, 17 of 18, something like that. The only loss they have is to Furman. They lost. Remember, we've covered them once or twice before. They lost to Purdue and they lost to VCU. They won every game in that stretch. I think what it was I didn't include 2 non-Division I games that they won, but nonetheless, maybe it's 15 of the last 16, whatever it is. But it's Chattanooga right now that comes in pretty hot here with 5 straight win and covers. They do have 2 losses in conference to Greensboro and to this Samford team. Samford opened the league season with an 89-74 win at home over Chattanooga. Samford got the money in that one, but should note that Chattanooga did win at Samford late last season, and they won in the tournament. That's what it was. Chattanooga won, I believe, in the conference tournament last season over Samford. Samford had won both regular season meetings, including the game here at Chattanooga. 75-70 as a 3-point favorite. Chattanooga is 9-2 straight up at home. Samford 5-3 straight up on the road, but 1-3 straight up as an underdog. Those same 4 games they've been basically the 4 times they were underdogs on the road, they lost. So as good as they've been, it does feel like a pretty great spot for Chattanooga. Both teams pretty solid to the under. I'll tell you, man, Samford here, it's kind of interesting because definitely the Sharps are kind of moving this game higher right now. In fact, my total might be a little bit stale. Let me see here. Yeah, 160 right now. It's already gone up to 160 here in this game. And let me put that on the screen. There we go. I think it's a pretty significant move here on a game like this, because Samford's 0-8 to the under. They've gone under in every single road game this season. So it's still going to have to be a high score. And what's happened, I think Samford in some of these games, their game against East Tennessee was set at 155 and it went under. Their game against Furman was set at 167 and it went under. And their game against Western Carolina was set at 158 and it went under. So they do get, lined pretty high in these games. Samford 0-8 to the under on the road. But it feels like 167 to me, quite frankly. I'm going to probably take a double play on it. I not only that, Chattanooga's 3-6 to the under at home. Now Chattanooga's gone over in a few games of late during this winning streak. Their last 2 games both went over. The Western Carolina game, 176 points on the road. The game against Citadel was 152 at home, but they held lowly Citadel to 62 points. And they really haven't had a game really aligned anywhere close to this of late. So I'm going over. I'll do a double play here in this one, but I think I like Chattanooga as a stronger play. But I'm going to put the over here in on this one. Um, like I said, Samford 0-8 to the under on the road. I'm going over though. I don't know what's going on here with it ain't foreign, it's boring, but it ain't illegal, it ain't rude, it ain't insulting, it ain't ban worthy. Thank you. And if it ain't foreign, it's boring and a bunch of eyeballs. I don't know. First time here, doesn't have anything to do with this show, but I really like that. Here's Blake. He likes Chattanooga. Let's go. Man, you guys are talking about that Wichita game. I've got it scheduled in our preview here, I thought, but now maybe it was you guys suggesting it because I don't see it here actually. We'll do it. Let me round out the schedule here with my games Colorado and Utah. Let's go out to the Pac 12 in this one. It's not the big one. Well, it's a pretty good one, certainly in the Pac 12 here today with these two you've got right now coming into this one. Colorado, just a game back of first place Arizona and Oregon, and they are on the road here against a Utah team that's 5-5, but nobody's out of it in the WAC 12 at this point. Colorado here, underdog and 151. This game goes off at 5 Eastern and 2 Pacific time. I'm showing right now 3 and 149.5. Wow. So let's bump Utah up here. The move is on Utah and the under in this one. Really? Well, I do appreciate that under move, I think, in this matchup. I'm going to take a look and see who my buddies, the Sharps, are on for sure. But we could preview this one. I kind of was thinking Colorado, but maybe further investigation. Actually, on a card like this, I can be swayed on a moment's notice, even by the chat. Let's take a look here. Utah coming in with a 14-7 record currently overall, and Colorado 15-6 here in this one. Could be considered kind of a situational spot in this one for the Utes here, but look, this line has already moved from it says 2.5 to 3, but I even think it was lower than this. Oh no, it's only been one. It was 1.5 at one point. Okay, I get that. Um, I'm going to take these points. I'm pretty sure, despite that. I mean, Colorado's a pretty big threat to win this league, but these standings clearly wide open. Arizona's got to be the best in the conference, but they've fallen a few times as well. You got a guy like Simpson here, almost 20 points per game scorer here for the Buffs, and Utah hasn't been great. They lost to the Washington schools on the road. And, they're tall, they're lanky. I get that. But I don't know. They might have to rely on an advantage in the backcourt here. They're in a tough spot. Utah needs this win desperately. But, man, I'm kind of a Colorado fan. And maybe this will be my other double play because I like it under. It might be getting a little bit too low now. This total opened 154 and is down to 149.5. Boy, I missed the boat on that one. These are the ones I'd like to get in the hands of subscribers the night before. But tell you what, the total was as high as 154. I was kind of interested in it then. Even at 151.5, I was interested in it, and I think I still could be interested in this one. I'm going to take Colorado to win on the road. I know Utah's got their backs to the wall in this one. I think Colorado is the better team. This might be the game where they kind of show their class a little bit. Tough to win. I know, certainly. Tough to win at this venue, but I'm going to take Colorado and the under. I think under is a little bit my favorite play of the two. All right. Okay. Thanks, Perky. We'll see you later if you haven't left already. And I know you got to you're capping in. Um, I just thought Perky kind of like Jefferson at Fast Times at Ridgemont High. He just flies in for the games. All right. Uh, Here's Blake on Colorado. Another one here. Gonna have to hang out for a few of these, you guys. I want to look at important games, and this is one of the biggest ones in the country today. Um, don't you think? With Drake and Indiana State? I would think so. Indiana State comes in with a 10-1 record in this one. Drake comes in with a 9-2 record. This one is pretty much for the marbles. Bradley's 8-3. They still breathing here in the Missouri Valley right now, but Indiana State is at home. And yeah, it's probably the biggest spread we're previewing here on the show today. But you got the two teams atop the standings here currently with Drake and Indiana State. The two teams have a combined just 7 losses this season. Yeah, Missouri Valley can be, not the strongest conference, but not the weakest. I mean, I think they're 10th in the Ken Palm. So these are two good, underrated teams here in this one. Now, the talking heads are talking it up for Indiana State to get a win and a cover here, and I might be with them, quite frankly. Even laying these points against a Drake team that's done, terrific this season and have a great combo, certainly in DeVries and Brody here. But, you got a guy like Robbie Avila for Indiana State. This is a great game and one of the games of the day that I suggest. I'm not telling you what to watch. There's plenty of games. You can watch 10 games at a time like I do. All right. Maybe just get into some of the numbers here. Like I said, I'm pretty hot on ISU coming in here anyways, so I don't know if we can go too much further into it. Indiana State's 8-2 against the spread at home this season. We know Drake's been a great cover. Interestingly, Drake is so strong. They're just 1-0 as an underdog so far this season. They failed to cover in their last game and a win against Valpo, but they did win against Northern Iowa. Lost on the road at Missouri State, covered easily against Evansville and Illinois State. Indiana State on fire right now with their winning streak currently coming in, but they didn't cover last time against Belmont. Still 8-2 at home currently against the spread. They've won 6 straight. The Sycamores only lost this season. Who was it to? You know who it was to. It was to the Drake Bulldogs. 89-78 as a 2.5 point favorite. Drake won and got the money in that one. Drake also won the meeting at Drake last year, but the meeting here at Indiana State last year was, it was last season. It was in December of late November of 22. They got the conference season started off early, 75-73. Indiana State won as a 2.5 point dog in that one. As far as the totals in this one, you got Indiana State 13-8 to the over overall, and pretty high total. I don't know if I'm actually too interested in the total right now, and I'll probably just stick to the side here. I think I'm going to prefer Indiana State. I think I can get 5.5 even right now, but I like Indiana State. Looks like the Sharps are kind of starting to move on the over here a little bit. Whoever they are, whoever I say they are. Anyways, I saw some steam come in. The line service quoted some steam on the over. That's how I did. That's really how I determine the sharps, and also the money splits a little bit. Whenever you see the tickets running one way and the money running the other, this is a common thing that handicappers sometimes look at. Sometimes they don't. Many times they don't. Only people like me that can't get enough of the numbers. All right, let's move on. Here I'm on Indiana State only, and I'll lay the 6. 5.5 at a lot of spots. Let's go to the SEC and take an important game here with Auburn on the road at Ole Miss. Wow, hello. Hey, I talked about it earlier this week. My bet on Ole Miss at 125 to 1 to win the national championship. Well, they do have just 3 losses after all this season, and they are playing in one of the toughest conferences in the country. Yeah, did they beat a lot of turtles out there early on? Alabama State. They beat 0-22 Detroit Mercy. That's fine. Beat Temple, Mount St. Mary's, Southern Miss, Bryant, whatever. They do have conference losses already. They're only 5-3 in the SEC. Road losses at Tennessee, at LSU, at Auburn, 2 top 5 teams, or top 10 teams there, I would think, and Tennessee and Auburn. They did get a road win at Texas A&M last weekend, which was pretty good win for them. But still going to be pretty tough here at home.
Final.
As a dog against this Auburn team. But man, I want to take Ole Miss. I'm already invested to a certain extent. I want Ole Miss to have a great season, and maybe you can give me some leverage on that one for my $2 bet. My $2 bet, if you know what I mean. Here, that would be a nice little return. And hey, I'm a professional. I know everybody likes to pride up and let it ride, but if you get in a position to, come down with, a couple of dimes, wouldn't be a bad idea to throw a nickel on another team if it's closely rated down. Then take a little money, take a little profit off the table. Do it in the market. Why wouldn't you do it here? Anyways, we're not worried about that yet. Worried about these 2 teams, good spread teams, man. Auburn 13-8 against the spread as a favorite, and Ole Miss 12-9 against the spread overall, but 9-5 against the spread at home. They have not lost at home this season. Ole Miss home victories against teams like NC State, Memphis, Central Florida, the Florida Gators. As well. So some impressive win. UCF was actually on the road. Apologize for that. But I think they named off their most impressive home wins of the season. This one would be the one. Last game, 82-59. Auburn crushed them in that one back just on January 20th. Auburn's a big-time under team. They've gone under in 7 of 9 road games and 7-14 of the under overall. Ole Miss, they're kind of 50-50 on those, but the first meeting did go under 152, finished at 141. Again, a blowout where Ole Miss only scored 59 points. All right. Hey, you can make the call. I'll make the call in this one. I don't know if anybody can quite get me off Ole Miss. This one probably on the confidence meter, though, is probably the lowest rated of all these college games I'm doing today. But just an Ole Miss fan this season, I think, just like watching them a little bit. I think those top guys, the bench is what I'd be worried about really long term with Ole Miss. But with Flanagan, Morrell, and guys like Murray also, I think, right? Oh, maybe some picks from you guys here, and then we're going to get to the big game. And let's see here. Missed you guys on that other game. Thomas said Drake. And nobody here even on this one with me. Let's get to the big game of the day. Yeah, maybe St. John's, Connecticut. I typed it up, but come on, this one's the big one in the first. 2 teams separated by 8 miles and 2 shades of blue. North Carolina taking on Duke. It's probably my favorite rivalry in college basketball. Over the years, I've watched this game so many times in different circumstances. And we watched so much college basketball. I can tell you where I was on some of those North Carolina Duke games, man, back in the 90s a little bit. And rivalries were rivalries. This is still it. This is still it. you guys. We know that with this one in the ACC, especially this year. I mean, maybe these two aren't. Uh, well, they are. Come on, North Carolina. Both teams in with 4 losses this season. Carolina 17-4, 9-1 atop the ACC. Duke is 16-4, 7-2, second place in the ACC. Virginia, they are 2 games back right now at 7-3. Florida State also 3 losses right now. But when you've got this matchup, this one feels like it's for the regular season championship. Duke, Carolina game in hand also, so might want to mention there a little bit. 6:30 Eastern, 3:30 Pacific for Duke and North Carolina. You watched it before. This one's on the mothership, as they all were back in the day. Remember one time, trying to remember what happened. Like the game was on ESPN2. It might have been on a Monday night. I want to say there was one of the games, the one I think about most specifically, why I brought that vivid memory. There was one game was like on ESPN2. It was running up against Monday Night Football or something like that, and both teams were up there. One of them might have been number one, and I can remember we had a sports bar with like 140 TVs, and like probably like 40 of them were on the basketball game on a big Monday Night Football, and we were kind of rocking both games. I remember that year. Can't remember when that was exactly, but had to be around 2000 or so, I guess. All right, the Carolina here, they're the spread team this season. They're 8-2, covering numbers in the last 10 games right now. They did lose that stunner against Georgia Tech. Say it was a stunner. We were kind of talking up Georgia Tech, or was it on the show? Maybe I just bet on Georgia Tech. They were pretty hot before that, Carolina, with wins over Florida State, Wake, BC, and Louisville, and covers in 3 of those games to keep this streak going. Carolina 5-4 against the spread at home. Duke on the road against the spread 2-4. They've played 6 road games this season. Hey, look, I mean, Duke does what it does. Certainly, they're on a little bit of a run here, of course, right now with 3 straight wins over VTech, Clemson, and Louisville. They covered against Virginia Tech on the road as a 3.5-point favorite. So, what do you think here, Duke and Carolina? What's the total now here with these two? I'm showing 4.5 and 152.5. So we haven't had too much movement here. I'm probably just going to be on the over. I don't know if I'm necessarily on a side yet, or maybe I'm just not willing to tip my hand in this one because this is going to be pretty awesome. All right. Yeah, give me the over even at 152. It was as low as 149.5. I'm not going to stress any of the subscribers out with a total on that one. It'd probably be, with a closely rated game, pretty tough to get all the way over this total by a wide margin, but I'm probably going to end up taking the total here. And man, Carolina starting to move. Could it be? Could I be on the heels? What do you guys have? Anything? All right. Let's see here. Final. Yeah, Thomas, we'll get to that request. Salty said Texas. Brendan Dillinger, he might have saw me at a strip club. I don't know. I've been many, even for me, been a few years since I've been having a night like that. All right. Curtis said, did I pick Auburn? No, sir. I picked Ole Miss. How nice to see you, Curtis. And Thomas, funky. Salty says, give me Carolina. Blake says North Carolina as well. Jeff, I did go with Ole Miss in that one. Yeah, I don't know if it's because of the futures bet. And I mean, I'm not making that part of the handicap. Certainly, I do like Ole Miss. And Jeff likes Auburn. We might have another challenge. Jeff, if Jeff wins, are you going to leave me, Jeff? Thomas, you guys going to leave me? I've only got 40 viewers today. I've lost 20 somewhere, probably because of this college card. I picked so many goofy games today, and I've got another one, you guys. I just can't leave it alone. Eastern Washington and Montana. I've got to take a peek at this one with the Grizz at home here against the Eagles in this one. I'm going to cover big games in college basketball throughout the season in different conferences. That's just the way it is. And with this game, you've got number one Eastern Washington 7-1 here against Montana 6-3. This barely makes the cut. So if you guys are upset, we want to get to some of those other games here, certainly that you guys are requesting. So I've still got a few more here I want to look at with Eastern Washington and Montana. An Eastern Washington underdog, Montana 2-point favorite here at 9 o'clock Eastern and 6 Pacific tonight. Here, Montana maybe up to 2.5 now at some spots currently. So, all right. The Grizz are actually in first place. The third place team, like I said, they are 1.5 games back of first place Eastern Washington. Eastern Washington, led by Cedric Coward. Certainly, let's get some of the numbers here with these two teams. This one's on ESPN Plus. Trying to give out those times, Thomas. So hopefully you can hear me say that. Jeff says he's got the Grizz here in this one to win big. Hey, don't sleep on Eastern Washington. I'm not necessarily ready to make a call, I don't think, on the side. So we'll let Jeff maybe be our side handicapper in this one. I think I'm probably more interested in the total here with these two teams. Now, Montana plays pretty good defense at home, but Eastern Washington feels like they just play at kind of one speed. They're pretty fast and up tempo. They're 12-7 to the over overall, 9-5 to the over on the road. They're also 7-2 to the over as an underdog. Now, on the side, the public is certainly going to, not calling Jeff a square, but 3/4 of the tickets are on Montana here. And, well, quite frankly, I'm not sure yet, but maybe I'd lean to the Grizz. They are favored after all against the better team. That's usually kind of an indicator as well. So may not be as square as I might think. Remember, early bettors are always going to be, and who's betting Eastern Washington? Who's even covering Eastern Washington and Montana? How did we get here? Eastern Washington won the first meeting a couple of weeks ago, 64-57, as a 4.5-point favorite. Eastern Washington 10-4 against the spread on the road. They've covered 7 of the last 10. 6-3 ATS as a dog. Both these teams excellent against the spread. I'll just take the over here. Like I said, Montana's been an under, but they have played a few overs here of late, including their last game at home against Idaho that went for 143, but it was lined at 141. A similar game maybe to this one was Montana hosted Montana State a couple of weeks ago. They were a 4-point favorite against the Bobcats in the rivalry game, mind you, but it did finish with 164 points, and they were a 4-point favorite. And Montana State's played a few highs for sure. So I'll just take the over, and Jeff gave you Montana. How about it? And he ain't mad. All right. Oregon and UCLA in this one. I think it's worth a peek. Another Pac-12er here just right now because of Oregon standing, I would think certainly right now is why I've got to take a gander here because Oregon tied for first place with Arizona right now, and they're going on the road against UCLA. That even though UCLA is 5-5, you got to think they got a big chance here with Oregon, just a 2-point favorite on the road here. Maybe call me square. Maybe call me square for once, okay? I ain't proud, but I think Oregon could be the side maybe for me here, laying a couple of points. I think they're actually laying 2.5 in some spots right now. 2.5 and 133.5. I'm feeling pretty square. No offense. And maybe Oregon can win this one. This is important. They really can't afford. Well, I say they can't afford to lose, but it does feel like these top teams even have a couple of more losses in them. Maybe just not right matchup here necessarily. Let's see how the markets are shaping out for me, and maybe I can get off of them, but I don't know if I can. I think I want Oregon, you guys. I know that I've already seen actually a lot of people on the total here on this one. I saw some videos, some guys I really like talking this one up today as an over, but I'm not ready to commit to that. It was as low as 132.5, as high as 135.5. So if anything, I don't know. I'd probably go over here with those talking heads here. I think Oregon can score some points here today. This game suggests that the score is going to be 66 to 64, 67 to 65. 67 to 65. I think Oregon can reach 70 in this game. They scored 70 at USC the other night. Now we know USC's having all sorts of problems, but offense isn't one of them. The game went over 146.5. So you can see kind of the contrast. That's because of UCLA. I mean, they play those unders. They're 7-14 to the under this season, 4-8 to the under at home. Oregon's almost the opposite, 13-8 to the over, 6-3 to the over on the road. So how do you like your totals? These two teams have already met in their first meeting this season. It was Oregon, 64 to 59. They did not cover the spread at home, laying 7 points in that one, but they got the money the other night at SC. They split those games. They lost the big one, of course, to Arizona at home as a dog. So Arizona kind of in command here. UCLA, they've been winning definitely right now on a little bit. They've won their last two, including a win over USC. You could do a little bit of a common opponent there. They beat USC by 5 as a 4.5-point dog on the road. Did the Bruins last Saturday, I think it was. Or was that the Sunday night game? Whatever it was last weekend. And they did not cover that game against Oregon State at home the other night. They were favored by 10.5, winning that one in an over. Went to 134 points, and the total was 125.5. I had the under in that one. I did not fare well. So call me square. I'm taking the Ducks. Blake's on the Ducks. Jeff likes the under, I believe, in this one. And I'm going to defer to him there. I'll let Jeff pick the under here, but I'm not giving it out. All right. One more. Got to look at Gonzaga tonight against St. Mary's because they're playing St. Mary's. And this is a game of the year, I would think, certainly in the WCC with Gonzaga a game back of St. Mary's, believe it or not. But they are at home here. They're 7-1. St. Mary's is 8-0. This is it for the for the championship. It feels like, yes. St. Mary's does have one more date at home with San Francisco, but they should be favored in that game. Both teams will be favored from here on out. So they would, I guess, finish not well. No, I take that back. It'll come down to the last night of the season, but this would even up the standings right now. In fact, I'm getting ahead of myself because St. Mary's conference loss actually, Gonzaga's conference loss, of course, was that Santa Clara game about 3 weeks ago. Remember, they lost at Santa Clara for their only conference loss. These two teams will meet on the final night of the season. So what can we do here with St. Mary's and Gonzaga? Gonzaga, 4-point favorite. I think my buddies were getting mad at me last night every time they said Gonzaga. I like to say Gonzaga because I don't like Gonzaga. My team's USD in the West Coast Conference. So when I say Gonzaga, I mean it, but I think they were saying it by accident. So if you're trying to say Gonzaga properly, maybe they were being jerks like me and saying Gonzaga because that's how you make Gonzaga fans mad. So let's give them their credit because they are Gonzaga, a great team certainly. Just 9-11 though against the spread this season, 5-7 against the spread at home. But hey, St. Mary's is always taken. They're favored a lot too, and they are just 10-12 against the spread this season. Good team, just 6 losses. They're favored usually in a lot of games because of who they play. I will say this though: St. Mary's is 2-0 against the spread as an underdog this season. St. Mary's is on a winning streak, certainly. Right now, Gonzaga is on a 5-game winning streak. St. Mary's is on a 9-game winning streak. St. Mary's currently one of the hottest teams in the country. They've won 15 of their last 16 games. Overall, they've failed to cover in each of their last 2 games. They were big double-digit favorites in both of those, knowing that they had the big Gonzaga game coming up. Gonzaga just covered a big number against LMU, but they failed to cover against Pacific and San Francisco in wins. Hard to quantify because Gonzaga is always favored by such double digits usually, so you got to kind of comb the archives a little bit in this one. All right. Hey, thank you, Perky. And Thomas says St. Mary's is live in this one. If it ain't foreign, it's boring. I don't even know what we're talking about there, but I like this guy's emoji game. Blake on St. Mary's here. So it feels like St. Mary's is live, and it feels like I'm scared to make a pick on the side, quite frankly, and I might just default to the total like a wimpy guy here. Feels like the Sharps are on Gonzaga a little bit if it's up to 4 because it opened 2.5. Some steam did come in. I'll say the Sharps are on Gonzaga. The Squares might be on Gonzaga too, as far as I know. But right now, tickets are running 4 to 5 for St. Mary's. And you're going to have sharper action early. We'll see if that evens out. But one line reporting service has 4 out of every 5 tickets coming in on St. Mary's. The other one has 2 out of every 3 tickets on St. Mary's currently. So maybe St. Mary's is the public side at this point. But again, you're going to have a little bit sharper action here. Yeah, this game may attract some public action here early just because of the matchup. But I'm going to take the over here at 1, and the total's obviously it's 139 now at some spots. So that's it for college basketball. I'll take some of your requests right now, and we'll just knock a few more out. Send you on your way. We got action just 30 minutes away. I'll be hanging out in the chat room over with my friends. I think I'll be chatting it up with them in the chat room. Probably making some more picks in there. Usually it's some picks where I'm not going to bet it real heavy. There's a million games. I mean, I'll have a lot of money, a lot of action. But, oh, great. If it ain't 4, I want to say whatever is over the sexy pick. I'm sexy and I know it. Here with St. Mary's and Gonzaga. Yeah, thank you, Timmy, for mentioning that. I'll hang out in the chat there and make some picks there. All right. Blake couldn't leave it alone. He couldn't leave it alone. Let's start to take your requests. These are going to be picks, not much analysis. For Blake, maybe we'll talk a little bit about his Vols coming in here to take on UK. And if I don't find the game within like 15 seconds, Thomas Lewis style, because I don't know all the times exactly, and or you and the rotation numbers on a game day with 140 games, we move on and I don't make a pick. But this one we might make an exception here. I felt like it was a evening game. Oh yes, okay. Well, Tony's got a pick in this one, I'll tell you that much, and he's got his video. So usually Blake, whenever I see anything from Tennessee, especially Tech or the balls. I usually try to make it a point actually to preview that game because I know you'll be here. But because Tony previewed that game, I went ahead and skipped it. That doesn't mean we're not gonna pick the game here in this one. It might not be. Let me just take a look. But these two teams definitely can play some overs. I'll tell you that. 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific. All right, I think I can navigate my way to this one. And I'll tell you what. I know if you go ahead and take a look at Tony's video on the game, probably agree with Tony to a certain extent. As far as the side is concerned, this one's kind of ugly for me. And but the Vols are favored on the road. And maybe I do like them. Maybe I should just let Blake pick the game. All right. Yeah, you guys aren't going to. Blake, help. All right. In this one, look, maybe I'll actually peek at some numbers here. I mean, Kentucky's, Tennessee definitely have had a couple of issues on the road. Kentucky has taken some numbers at home, certainly, and 798. Now, the steam came in on Tennessee, right? And now there you are. What is the current line is at? Pick them for the most part, but man, they did hit Tennessee. I want to take Tennessee. I'm going to take them. I'm taking them, Blake. Tennessee to win. Let's go, Vols. I mean, they are getting 1 point now from Kentucky in this one. And I've already, I'm not saying Tony's a talking head, certainly in this one. And I'm not saying that, I'm not calling Tony necessarily a square in this one. But man, it does seem like they've, if anything, right? I mean, I think the thing with the under, I don't want to give it away. I want you to go watch those. Watch those games, watch those videos a little bit, but I think Tony's got it right on actually with the total in this one. Despite the fact that Kentucky's a massive over team here, I would think that the Vols do have a solution here in this one. I mean, look what happened in the games last year. They were way under, right? And that's a great question. That's a great question. If it ain't foreign, it's boring. That's what I've tried to argue here. We don't even know who they are. What I try to do is I quantify the squares as the ones who are moving the line with the line services, with some steam, with some reverse line moves. And one thing that's always said is you can kind of look at the tickets. If the tickets are running one way on one team, some people don't like to look at those numbers. They don't even believe them. But also, there's one way to look at it with big name teams, right? Against bad teams. Sometimes you can kind of quantify it that way. I always try to say who the sharps are on. And on every game, if you notice it, I just try to mention one or the other, whether it be a side or a total. For me in this one, I think the sharps are on Tennessee. I think the squares will be on Kentucky at home getting points. I love Cal. I'm not playing up to Blake here, and I don't have great conviction on this game, but I want to make a pick. Tony's made a pick on the total. I agree with Tony. I'm not hot on the under a little bit. I think they got to respect a little bit what we've seen from these offenses here this season and the way things are playing out right now. But you look at Tennessee off of a loss right now to South Carolina at home that in a stunner. I mean, they were favored by 13.5 in that one and kind of messed things up here a little bit. In this SEC race currently, because now Tennessee has a second loss, and it's still anybody's game here. Kentucky's sitting there with 3 losses right now, and they lost their 2 of their last 3. They also lost to surprising South Carolina, and they also lost to Florida. South Carolina, fun team to watch.
Final.
All right. And Brendan, of course not. And that'll get you the quick bano. You know that?
Final.
All right.
Final.
Okay, thank you, Jeff. I'll try to take care of that for you. I really don't have an answer for you there. haven't been able to communicate with the home office myself. They just kind of leave me alone. I guess I figure I got it handled, but I don't. I rely on their customer service there, so thank you. All right. And all right, let's see here. Jeff, who's South Carolina playing today? Hey, it's not going to be easy. They're playing at Georgia, Jeff. That won't be that'll be a tough game. Okay, let's kind of move on here, and I will just follow through here with the over right in this one with. Oh no, what did I say? I'm sorry, you guys. The under. Oh, Tennessee, Tennessee. I'm on the balls. All right. Well, um, let's see. Brent with a pick here. I don't know if I can scroll back. Maybe I'll wrap up the show. I'll scroll back and say all the names and thank everybody for joining me today. And if I see one of those request games, unless you can put it up here right now, we'll just end the show. We got to go. It's still 30 minutes before the games start. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Brent. Thank you, Thomas. Thank you, Salty. Thank you to Brendan. Thank you, If It Ain't Foreign, It's Boring. Thank you, Salty, and also Perky, of course, in here as well. We had here today Curtis Mann joining us, of course. Today we had Lovable Plays. I didn't see. Oh, yes, the WAC 12. Thank you, Lovable. Always good to have you. Appreciate it. Rich Stubbs was here today as well. We had Biggie joining us. We had Chad with the Chad Challenge doing a great job. Love you, Chad. There's Terrell as well today. Tim Humphrey was here talking up Northwestern a little bit today. Also, Dre was here. Stephen Downey was here today. Thomas Bird as well. We had Brent bringing the action in the NBA today. We had Tony joining us as well. We had that might be it for the regulars here. Russell is here. Of course, Gerardo stopped by, and Fernando and Justin McKelvey was here today as well. And I miss Smoke and Mirrors. I hope he comes by today, tomorrow. I'm sorry, Smoke. I love you. Don't know what I did. I made more people mad. I make everybody mad, you guys. I'm surprised we have 33 dozen people here still watching the show. How many of you have I made upset with me today? I thank you guys so much. I cannot, tell you guys enough how appreciative I am of your contributions and being here on the Tony's Picks YouTube channel. I'll try not to make everybody mad, but maybe I just have too many opinions. Percent Better was here as well. Thank you so much, you guys. I think that does it for the show. Going to look one more time to see if we got those any college requests, but I think that does it for all the matchups. All right. Blake says Tennessee Tech. Thank you, Lovable Plays. Yes, I do have it actually. Let me take care of the NHL coverage here today. I don't know if I have any plays in these, but let me just show, because I think this will show who's favored in this. So you have the four teams. They're playing a little, I think, 3-on-3 format. We know the form, we know how this game's played, 3-on-3 hockey these days, right? So you have Team McDavid here against Team McKinnon. In this one, you've got Team McDavid favored by $1.15. They're not even $1.15. I think it's even lower. I think it's even like 108 or so. And I think Circa's even got McKinnon, but Circa took the opposite position on both these games. Actually, maybe you should respect the opinion of Circa, even if we're in a silly exhibition. I might favor the underdogs, whoever they are here. Totals are both 8 and 11.5 in both these games. We'll see. Maybe I can look into the rules a little bit here and get back to you guys. I see you guys saying you're going to be in the Discord later. these games in the first games, they usually go way over, and then in the championship game, sometimes it goes under. Now, I know we've had some where we've had more teams in the tournament. We only have 4. There's this one and there's this one. See Team Matthews $1.20 over Team Hughes here in this one, and the total 11.5 as well. That's the NHL today. Those games start at 3 Eastern, noon Pacific in Toronto. So maybe also that's why Team Matthews may be getting a little bit of attention here. But again, Circa's taken a position on both the underdogs. They've made them the actual favorites. So that's the hockey coverage. All right. Thanks a lot, you guys. Appreciate you. Join me here more mornings team tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern, 6 Pacific. Hey, I promise tomorrow. It took us 2.5 hours to get through this with college basketball. Tomorrow, done by 10:30, promise. All right. For Tony'sPicks.com, I'm Ramon Scott.
Coming with real game is sort of a freight train. It's been reported bank rolls are easy to maintain, so get situated.